Hi, Brian from the channel Brian here, and the newest Disney animated film Raya and the Last Dragon is here months after it premiered on Disney Plus for $30. Try as they might, I'm not giving in to their dumbass artificially constructed FOMO. Now, I've not been especially charitable towards Disney in my videos, but their animations can sometimes still work. Soul proved they could still make movies that are good. Frozen 2 proved they didn't have to make a movie good for me to like it. That Luca trailer looks pretty fun, and Raya promised a badass fantasy world with a warrior woman who rides around on a giant armadillo. Should this movie work? Yes. Does it? No. Disney? What is this? This is first draft Sonic the Hedgehog bad. She looks like one of the pregnant furry demons from Nostalgia Critic's The Wall review. The problem here is they designed her face the exact same way they would a princess character, clashing really hard with the rest of everything about her. I mean, she's already fur-bait enough with her weird furry snake body, but the over-anthropomorphized face pushes it over the edge. Still shots don't even do it justice. Every time she moves, it is creepy and uncanny. All the conceptual models in the world can work together in the background, but if something as obviously bad as this character design is far more front and center than any of them, it just doesn't matter. People have compared this to Avatar, which I get. A world divided into multiple kingdoms, a band of heroes embarking on a journey to reconcile that division alongside a previously hibernating savior, and the royal child of an evil nation tries to capture them. But I'm not on that Lindsay Ellis crap where any remotely Asian-inspired fantasy media is automatically an Avatar clone. Structurally, it's closer to Kubo in the Two Strings and the Golden Sun games, but I wouldn't put it past Disney to say, people like Avatar, make it look like that, but not in a way where anyone can reasonably call it a ripoff. At least we have the New York Times reporting the real news about how Raya's dad is really hot. But anyway, yeah, they shouldn't call Raya a ripoff. It's original enough. Perhaps it's easier to accuse Raya of trying to be like something else because it so adamantly sets up a story it doesn't seem to know how to tell. Once the movie gets going, it really starts regressing into painful cookie-cutter modern Disney tropes. And here's what I mean. Raya and the Last Dragon's biggest problem is the mismatched relationship between its exposition and what comprises the majority of its story. It opens with an artisanal prologue explaining the mythos. Moana and Coco had similar openings, and by now it's starting to feel like just another gimmick. This is followed by a second prologue when Raya is a child. In this segment, the driving objective is establishing the kingdom's separation and superficial cultural traits. There's an especially tactless part where Raya and her dad are just walking along when he says to her, "Tell me everything you know about the Five Kingdoms," as a means of initiating that exposition. When this second prologue ends and flash forward to Raya as a young adult, that's the last we learn about the kingdoms through literally any method of storytelling. The information we've received is important, if thematically on the nose, but only ever gets us to a cursory understanding the film ought to build upon and explore further, something Raya and the Last Dragon never does. When I kind of reviewed Onward, I complained about Disney's latest over-reliance on samey journey movies, in which a couple of locations are set up and then gently meandered through until the climax. Raya takes better advantage of its native genre than Onward or other lazier examples of this formula, but the effect is still the same. Raya's second act is horrifically paced. Each visit to one of the kingdoms feels over before it even begins. The setting is there, but so little about them is taken advantage of despite having established what to expect. Raya's not as bad as, say, Rise of Skywalker, though, because at least something's gained from each place they visit. But in terms of brevity and lack of impact, it's in the same ballpark. I hate to bring up the Avatar comparison again, but in that show, the characters experienced firsthand the different cultures and features of every nation. It showed as well as told the details of what separated them and made them unique. Sure, Raya visits each kingdom, but my knowledge of each one remains the exact same when she leaves as when she entered. Now, Avatar might be a multi-season TV show, but in Raya's case, the problem is the material that would fit into an Avatar or a Golden Sun duology, Disney's tried condensing into less than 2 hours. The Disney formula of comedy relief, side characters, animal sidekicks, and zany dialogue now has to vie with a story that's already straining for room to function on its own. Raya and the Last Dragon wants to be a fantasy adventure with the fate of the world at stake. 2 warrior women caught in a rivalry searching for magical artifacts that can reshape the power structure of the entire world. Unstoppable manifestations of humanity's ill will that turn people to stone. But every single time Sisu speaks, I see the Disney checklist. The trendy, overly modern dialogue is a brutal assassination of everything Raya and the Last Dragon's working towards. I don't hate Awkwafina. It's hard to hate Awkwafina, but she does not match the character, and it's obvious they're still chasing the charm of Robin Williams as Genie. Someone built up as mystical and all-powerful is instead wisecracking and anachronistic. Now, I didn't find a single word out of her mouth funny, but even if you did, it's still really at odds with Raya's established tonal objectives and reduces the sense of weight in the stakes. She's also the sole arbiter of the film's message. So after demolishing the film's tone, Raya and the Last Dragon expects us to take her ham-fisted morals about trust seriously, even though every time they do, it backfires until the very end of the film. And the instance where it does work is fueled by nebulous magic that only works by the film's internal logic deciding it will, rather than actually having to depend on the whims of someone you've put your trust in. So if you actually go by what happens, it's a movie about blind, baseless faith than anything. Okay, so whether or not the previous 2 things were a factor, Raya and the Last Dragon features plot holes that are quite literally impossible to ignore. Alright, so the story is a long time ago there was this war, and on one side there were smog demons that turned people into stone, and on the other side there were dragons and humans. The smog demons were winning really easily, but it's not that long into the film before we're told their weakness is water.
What do cats and Droon have in common? They both hate water.
But one of the kingdom's largest city is built on a lake. One is completely separated from land by a canal, and another lives in the snow. How on earth did the humans almost lose? How badly did you have to plan your defensive strategy to live on the water and nearly get defeated by an enemy who dies when they touch water? So because the humans are dumb, the dragons had to channel all their energy into a magic rock, which gets broken into 5 pieces during the film's second prologue. And now that it's broken, it's Raya's job to Paper Mario this shit and find all the pieces in each kingdom. But the thing is, the rock still repels smog demons when it's broken. So why doesn't the tribe with the biggest piece just break it down even more and embed it in their weapons or armor? Or do anything but keep it in the tip of a scepter like the rival tribe queen does? In case these aren't enough overwhelming advantages the humans have that ensure there is no possible way they could lose, they have an army of dragons on their side. And get this, every time Sisu touches a shard of the broken rock, she gains another one of the powers the dragons who created it had. Now, transforming into a human is one thing, but when she touches the 4th stone, we find out Sisu's brother had the power to summon rain. Gee, if only there was something he could have done as they fought an enemy that dies when it touches water. This moron was literally fighting a hydrophobic enemy like shit. What do I do when he can control the rain?
Dumbass. Niggas is dumb.
Does it not demonstrate a serious lack of concern for the most basic of things to make sense before Disney starts tackling their factory-produced checklist of elements? Does it not come across stupid and reductive to the entire stakes of the story when it's built upon a historical war that should have been over in 10 minutes? This movie is so dumb. I don't want to come down hard on Raya for everything. It's got some great art direction. Besides Awkwafina, each actor fit their character pretty well. Kelly Marie Tran actually did a good job selling Raya as a character. And since this movie is clearly going for a strong female-centered story, this is leagues and leagues better than the Mulan remake. The women characters in this film are diverse in age, morality, motivation, and Raya herself is a competent warrior, but actually feels tested by what the film puts her through, especially when fighting her evenly matched rival. I'm just so disappointed to see the film's every triumph get wasted because Disney's current creative climate means a rote, tired series of events and characters end up overwhelming all of them. This movie has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, so Disney has no critical incentive not to make similar films. Hopefully one day they'll make something like this that lives up to its lore. I'm giving this film a 4 out of 10. But hey, did you like this movie more than me? Less than me? Well, if you care to, please tell me. And anyway, if you like not only words, but the way I arrange and then say them, please consider helping me out with the algorithm by liking this video and subscribing to me, Brian from the channel Brian. Thank you, and goodbye.